I've had a lot of people ask me to make this video about my tapping protocol, so here it is. Now, this is not my content. You know, sometimes I combine things in a way that I can call it mine. This is not one of those. This is based on faster EFT, which is the emotional freedom technique. EFT is a tapping protocol where you tap on all kinds of meridians, based on ancient Chinese acupuncture and acupressure. And so you tap on these meridians to diffuse an emotion. That's EFT. Now, faster EFT is based on Robert Smith's work, and the tapping protocol that I use is identical to Mike Mandel. Now, Mike Mandel is a hypnotist that I've trained with in Toronto. He took Robert Smith's work and he just added a few tweaks to it to make it his own, and this is the protocol that I use. Now, tapping can be used to clear all kinds of things: physical pain, emotional trauma, anxiety, stress, worry, headaches, nasal congestion. Tapping can be used to clear all kinds of things. Now, the premise of it is that energy gets stuck in the right frontal cortex of our brain. And what we do is we give it a linguistic tag, we give it a name so our nervous system can recognize it, and then we say, if it's anxiety, we say this anxiety, this anxiety. And we're giving it a name, we're gonna tap on the meridians, and our brain is then gonna be able to process that through the hippocampus and all the Broca's speech area, like all the different parts of our brain are then gonna move that energy of this emotion through it while we tap and say it out loud. Now, one of the keys is to get that emotion as strong as possible. So if you have a phobia of snakes and you're thinking about dancing later on, you're not gonna be feeling that phobia of snakes. So when you tap, it's not gonna do anything. So it's really important to think about a snake, to picture it, make it big, make it in your face. Get that emotion as strong as possible so that you can tap it away, so that when you give it a linguistic tag, your nervous system knows what you're talking about. Now, for those of you who have studied NLP with me, who have studied hypnosis, what we're doing is we're putting into the executive the appropriate ego state. So there's many parts of us. You know, part of us wants to quit smoking, part of us has experienced trauma, and so we're gonna make sure that the part of us that needs healing, the part of us that needs this emotion moved through our system, gets called forward. So we're gonna focus on that emotion, we're gonna give it a name, and don't overthink the name. Just whatever comes first, that's the name. So if it's stress, if it's worry, if it's anxiety, if it's fear, if it's grief, if it's guilt, name it, and then use this tapping protocol. So I would say, this anxiety, I'm releasing this anxiety, and you're gonna go on the top of the head 5 to 6 times. You're gonna go hard enough so that you can hear it, but not hard enough to bruise. So on the center of the head, this anxiety, I'm releasing this anxiety. We're speaking like an affirmation to our system. And then we're gonna go on the center of the forehead, just like this anxiety, I'm releasing this anxiety. Then we're gonna go to the side of the eye, it doesn't matter what side. This anxiety, I'm releasing this anxiety. Under the eye, I'm releasing this anxiety. And then we're gonna go right on the point of the collarbone, right there. And we're gonna tap it again. I use all 4 fingers. I'm releasing this anxiety. And finally, take your dominant hand, squeeze your non-dominant hand, your wrist, take a deep breath in, and say peace. And as you exhale, release, and let all of that emotion just filter and notice any changing sensations in your body. Now, another key is it's very important to get a SUDS analysis before you start. Now, SUDS is subjective units of distress. So when I'm working with a coaching client, I'm gonna say, you know, how strong can you make that anxiety right now? How intense can you make that feeling? Well, it's about a 7. Make it stronger. See if you can make it a 10. What would it take? What would you have to focus on? What would you have to think about to make it a 10? So get that as strong as possible, and they say, well, I can get it up to a 9. So 9 is our subjective units of distress. Then every round of tapping, we're gonna come back to that SUD. So where is it now? Well, it's only a 7 now. It's only a 4 now. And then you do as many rounds as needed to tap that all the way down to a 0 or a 1. And now here's another distinction that I learned from Mike Mandel, is that you can often have emotions nested inside of each other. So the first round, you might tap away some anxiety. The next round, it might be a little different. It might be fear. And then under that fear might be grief. So you're gonna tap it away, and I always ask my clients, is it still anxiety or is it something different? No, it's still anxiety. No, it's something different. What is it now? What's the first name of that emotion that comes to mind? Oh, now it's anger. Oh, great. So let's tap away that, or make it as strong as possible. On a scale of 1 to 10, where is that anger? Great, let's tap it away. This anger, I'm releasing this anger. I'm releasing this anger. Collarbone, squeeze the wrist, deep breath in. Peace. We're gonna anchor that feeling of peace. Now, if you're a coach hypnotist using this, it's important to do this tapping with your client. Remember, rapport is that people like themselves. And when we match and mirror their body language, we keep a strong rapport. So they might think it's stupid, they might think it's silly, but if they see you doing this tapping totally congruently, believing it's gonna work, all right, so tap here, and you're tapping exactly along with them, you're gonna keep a strong rapport. They're not gonna feel silly. They're gonna feel a strong connection to you because you're going through the exact same thing that they're going through. So that is the 6-step faster EFT tapping protocol that I've borrowed from Robert Smith and Mike Mandel. Use this with coaching clients. Use this on yourself. Anytime I'm going to public speak, I use a couple rounds of tapping to release any nervousness. You can use it again on phobias, on physical pain. Mike said he cured his fibromyalgia with 45 minutes of tapping. I know, mind-blowing, crazy stuff, but it's all energy, and energy gets stuck in our system. And this gives that energy a linguistic tag so we can process it. And I think it also does what's called a pattern interrupt. So we think about anxiety and we're tapping, we're interrupting that pattern over and over. We're interrupting that anxiety pattern over and over. And then pretty soon, it's like if you listen to a CD and you scratch it, you can't play that song the same way. So we can't find that old emotion the same way after a couple rounds of this tapping protocol. Now, another important point, it's important to be hydrated, so make sure if you're doing it, make sure you're hydrated, or make sure your client's hydrated. And another distinction is that sometimes in like weird energetic settings, like if there's machinery or something that's putting off an energetic field, it can affect whether tapping works or not. I've heard this secondhand, I don't know if it's true, so something to consider. Definitely go out, use this, use it all the time. Anytime you're in an emotional state that you want to change, use this tapping, name it, notice how it shifts through your body, and pretty soon you're gonna have even more emotional control than you already do now.